We are just working that open water structure, and we just came across the top of one of these reefs, and I mean, we are dead center of the lake, surrounded by deep water, just a couple submerged reefs. We're running our baits just over the top of these reefs. There's a series of trenches and deep troughs that run in between them, and we are just targeting that specific depth that we know these baits are running right over top of that reef, and that's where these big fish hang out, right on the edges of those rocks. And this isn't a bad one. It's not a super tank, but it's got some weight to it for sure. It's starting to put up a bit more of a fight now that I've got it vertical here, as we got caught up to it. But this is our first fish trolling right now. We've been trolling for about, I'd say, 6-7 minutes. Just got up to this structure here and right away put down, and we've covered maybe 250 meters of water so far. And this was the first strike. Marked 3 or 4 fish on the graph submerged on that reef, and they've all been decent fish. Pretty big fish. So just feel those big head shakes on this guy. It's absolutely beautiful day out here. I mean, the water is just glass right now. It's just so cool. Middle of this lake, not a breath of wind. It's warm when you're sitting still, but when you're moving in the boat, it's pretty cool actually. It's getting to be that time. We got some big bubbles coming up here now. It's a good sign. When you're fishing deeper, you want to let these fish expel some of that air before you get them up too high. Thanks. Got a lot of fight left in there. There we go. There we go. Look at that. First fish trolling over these reefs. Beautiful. Let's get a quick measurement on it. 37 and a quarter. Check that out. Beautiful fish. And she wants to go. We're gonna let her go. Back down to the depths of that reef. So you check it out here, running 2 units, running one on live scope, and the live scope actually, there's a good example right there, lets you identify fish that you're trolling over top of. You can see that one sitting at 80 feet. We can see the depths that these fish are hanging out. So 1 unit running with the live scope and 1 unit running with navigation on it, so I can keep on track of where we want to troll across this reef and follow these reefs and the edges and the breaks. You can see on there kind of with the glare, but you know, we're adjacent to deep water structure with these shallow reefs that we're following these contours on here. But super helpful running 2 units like that. If you only have 1, you can do split screen and run it both, but running live scope with the navigation actually helps a lot with your bottom contours and keying in on the depths that those big fish are hanging at, and it just works great.
Look at that little cloud of bait up there. That is really cool. I just hooked up. We just put the camera down, released Daryl's fish, and started trolling again. And I am now hooked up on something pretty decent here. I actually have a little bit smaller of a bait on, same size weight, but a bit of a smaller bait. I lost Sylvia too last night. Rest in peace. She got broke off, but I'm using a bit of a smaller quick fish this time, and this one definitely feels decent. They're no crazy runs or anything dramatic just yet, but just the weight on this fishy, the head, the big bobs of her head down there. You know, we often talk about it, but the sweet spot with your drag, I have a lot of guests in the winter that say, oh, you just tighten your drag down as much as possible, but that's not necessarily the case, because when you have your drag just right tight, there's a really good risk of actually pulling the hooks out of the fish's mouth, straightening a hook, that kind of thing, doing some damage. And the fish, obviously you need to make your fight as short as possible, but at the same time it's important to be able to have kind of that sweet spot, so you're able to fight them, but then you're also, you know, you're overpowering them without overdoing it, and you're able to kind of hold that fish. For example, we haven't seen any bubbles yet, so I'm able just to kind of hold this fish at a deeper depth to allow her to expel a bit of air. But like I said, you don't, when you start getting, you hear guys talking about, you know, their 10, 15, 20, even 30-minute fights with lake trout, and you know, the possibility of that fish surviving after that is very, very low, unfortunately. So, you know, you definitely want to have adequate, your line needs to be adequate strength for your application. I'm running 40-pound Suffix Pro Braid, and with another 35-pound fluorocarbon leader, and so, you know, I definitely have the power to, this fish is just pulling like crazy. I definitely have the power to be able to handle these fish, but at the same time, I'm not risking breaking any line off or losing my fish and prolonging that fight. Another thing is sometimes when you overdo when you have line that is way too heavy, you're not able to get enough yardage on your spool. The thicker your line, the more room it'll take up on that spool, so you know, you're not able to get that 150, 175, even 200 yards of line on. You're going to end up with, you know, if I put a 100-pound braid on, I probably only end up with 60 yards of line. So anyway, so you got to find that sweet spot, and if you have any questions about that, leave a comment on the video, and we'll be able to answer that for you and help you out with your setup. She's just pulling the boat around like crazy. This feels like a really, really nice fish here. I can't hardly gain on her when oh my gosh. Oh my goodness me. This is a big fish. I got some bystanders here watching me, 2 seagulls, and feel very encouraged by their presence. You can hear them cheering me on. Okay. Oh my gosh, this fish is insane. What I'm doing, I'm pulling up, reeling down. When she wants to run, I'll let her run. I'm essentially pulling up, reeling down, pulling up. Oh my gosh. Reeling down. Okay. There we go. See her now. Absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. Okay. Back down she goes. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Absolutely beautiful lake trout. Wow, wow, wow. We're gonna get her unhooked here. Look at that fish. She's gotta go 40. We're gonna unhook this fish and we'll get back to y'all. Beast of a lake trout. She is huge, beautiful fish. She's gotta go 40. Let's find. There we go. 40 and a change. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful lake trout. Wow, she's big. She's overpowering me. She's absolutely beautiful. All right, we're gonna let her go. Oh, she's got lots of pep in her. Absolutely beautiful fish. Look at her. So fat. Absolutely gorgeous. And there she goes. Absolutely beautiful. So you see there what I did. Oh, I'm out of breath. That fish is so heavy and I'm soaked. So what I did there, she's a big fish and she put in, those fish are old. She put in a lot of effort into that fight. So what I'm able to do is get that fish, give it a second with it horizontal. If she doesn't seem like she's ready to kick off right away, then what I'll then do is point her head down to the deeper water where it's cooler, higher oxygen content, give her a bit of a push, and off she goes down to the depths, no issues at all. So absolutely beautiful lake trout. I can't even believe it. We just got here, and that's 2 masters in not even 3.5 minutes of trolling. So absolutely incredible, and let's see what else we can find. But man, oh man, what a day. Okay, so before we get these baits down again, I just wanted to show you guys real quick what this circumstance was. Excuse the glare, it's really bright out today, but see this lavender is the deep water is all this lavender, and anything from 99 up to 100 is this kind of lighter purple, I suppose. You can see this reef here. You can watch my little tracks here. So basically we cut straight across down here. And when we went over this reef, which is in 85 feet, went over this reef straight across. And just as soon as my bait hit the edge of this reef into this deep trough adjacent to this other reef is exactly when I hit her. So she was just hanging out right on the edge of this reef along this kind of deeper trough. And we will do a pass kind of straight through as well and off the tip of it here. But that I can't get over how fast and how big those 2 fish were that we got. But that's why when you're able to have a unit and do your own mapping and charting, your success levels just absolutely skyrocket, rather than just taking, visual. It doesn't hurt to do, visual features, the edges of an island, etc., etc. But this deep open water structure houses so many big fish. So our next pass, you can see we did a pass right from reef to reef over the gap. Daryl got his big one. And like I said, another reef to reef over the gap, straight up on the edge of that reef. And so what we'll do is we'll do a few passes horizontal and then another few vertical, and then mark this spot as a good spot. So let's keep going. We just started trolling again, and I'm hooked up on another nice fish here. Man, my arms are gonna be like jello this evening. Already got mad arm pump, but yeah, basically I just started trolling, and we were actually you'll notice sometimes when you're trolling, you end up, when you're doing the turn, you end up hooking them up on that turn, because while you're turning the boat, the baits kind of have a few moments where they're just kind of slack and hanging, and any break of the cadence is really, really good for when you're trolling fish. You see sometimes guys are sitting there just holding their rod all day long, and while we're trolling, we're dropping our rod back to let that bait go slack for a moment, giving it a few twitches. So basically you're just trying to trigger a strike from that fish, and it's kind of like, nice. If you got a cat, it's kind of the same, the cat will sit there and look at the toy for ages, but as soon as you go to give it a little wiggle, then you see it going for the kill. And so yeah, basically just breaking up that cadence and breaking up that cadence and working that rod, putting that effort in, and it definitely will pay off. Our boat's getting pulled around like crazy. Like Daryl said earlier, we have zero wind, and as I mentioned earlier, zero chumming involved. It's all trolling. It's all natural hits. Once you start chumming, it can get really, really hard on that lake to catch them like this, to be able to naturally go around and actually, you know, fish for the fish, have them actively chasing up and down. We're being really active, hopping reef to reef. This is actually the same reef that we started out on this morning, which is really good. This is the third, hopefully I don't want to jinx myself, but the third big fish that we have gotten on this reef. And so let's see what she is. She doesn't feel as big as that 40 here, but she definitely still feels like a really, really big fish. And I'm not thumbing my spool. I have my thumb on my spool, but I'm still letting it roll and take some line if it wants to. Like I said earlier, if you try to just pin them and winch them up, then you can really start getting into some air issues, and you have a really good risk. Look at that big bubble. You have some really, really good risks of bending, breaking a hook, etc., etc. So, you know, the fish does want to run and she does want to go. You let her go, but at the same time, you minimize that fight as much as possible. Kind of just a gentle balance. I'm really happy to see all these big bubbles coming up. That means she's expelling that air from being down in that deeper water. I hit her in around 76 feet, pulling a bunch of drag here, and bubbles like crazy. So these lake trout are one of the only few freshwater fish that actually can regulate their swim bladders, so they're able to inflate and deflate as needed to get them down to the depths needed, but then at the same time be able to expel that air to be able to chase bait all the way up. And probably talk about it a little later in the video, but you know, it will happen the odd time where you do get air issues in a fish, and there's two options: fizzing or descending. And after talking to quite a few fisheries biologists and doing research, all agree that fizzing is definitely not the best option, especially for people who maybe don't have a crazy amount of fishing experience. The chance of hitting a vital organ, missing, giving an infection to that fish is extremely high. So, you know, having a descension device handy is extremely important. And I can see this fish already. Okay. Camera guy doubles as net guy. That's a nice fish. Camera guy doubles as net guy. Beautiful lake trout. Wow, I think she's probably around 38 or so. Absolutely gorgeous. So what we do, you might ask, why do you put the camera down when you're unhooking? Because we need all hands on deck. We're going as fast as we can. This is a huge priority in making sure this fish's health is okay. So we'll be right back. All right, let's check her out. Absolutely beautiful lake trout. We're out exploring some new open water structure. Absolutely gorgeous fish. Wow, she's full of sass. I'm just holding her so I'm not putting any stress on her face. Oh my gosh. Ah, I just got slapped in the face, which is really nice. Beautiful. 38, 39. Gorgeous fish. All right. Look. And there she goes.
Emily thought she'd be nice enough to let me hook up with one this time, so I'm hooked up again, and it feels like a good fish. She literally just lost that other one that I didn't get to see it running the camera. She said it was like a 37, 38, and then she just got smashed about probably 20 seconds before I hooked up with this one. So unsure if it's the same fish. We were coming over that reef there and marked a couple big fish, so hard to say.
Yeah, basically she smashed me, and then I had it on for maybe 4 to 6 seconds, and then it popped off, and all my baits all swirly gigged and brought it all back in. So
swirly gigged.
So luckily I was already actually in the boat. All my rig was in the boat, so that works out perfectly. Normally you're reeling like a mofo trying to get your line in when other guy has a fish, so this worked out well. So
that's why in most of these videos we don't get the hook sets, because the other person is just getting their line out of the way, and we're both trying to fish. So yeah, so essentially how it works is we have the camera on standby, ready to go, and then as soon as someone hooks on a fish, the other person reels in as fast as they can, which heavy weights and a lot of resistance, it sometimes takes a while, and then we're able to pop the camera out, and by then we're already about 20 seconds into the fight, 30 seconds, so you don't miss much. I'm watching this fish on the live scope. It's at 50 feet right now. I'm just waiting for some air bubbles here and trying to let it decompress at about 50 feet. It's not a massive fish, but it's a decent fish. Up to about 40 now. So when I get up to about 40, that's where I want to really see the bubbles. If I don't see them before 40, then I got to give it some more time. It needs that time to decompress for sure. There, looking on the live scope, I can see a ton of bubbles and disturbance there now. You can see, if you see it there, you can see all that air that was expelled right there. And then she just took a huge run. So that's what we're looking for. I was just holding her steady there at 40 feet just to make sure she get rid of that air before we bring her up. See, there's another big fish on the live scope following this one around. If you had a ready rod, usually we carry a ready rod. You can see one right here with the tube jig, and you can drop down and sometimes catch that other secondary big fish. They really are keen on what's in that fish's mouth though, so it can be difficult to catch those fish sometimes. But you can see one here just following this other fish on the live scope. They're about the same size. But if you do carry a ready rod with you, it's nice to throw a fairly big bait on there that resembles the bait that you're trolling, as long as you can get that bait down, right? But that is the best way of trying to catch those secondary fish. But it's nice to always have a ready rod. You can see ours is sitting right there with a tube jig on it, but it's hard to do when you're filming.
That's okay.
This fish didn't feel super huge, but man, it's taken a couple big runs now, and now that it's vertical, it's got some weight to it. Okay, we're up to the weight here now. It's a decent fish. Some big head shakes there.
She's nice.
Yeah. That's a big fish.
Big burbot out of its mouth.
Does it? Oh, nice. Those are always cool. Little snap. Oh, check that out. Thick, heavy fish. She's got a burbot sticking out of her mouth. It's hard to see if that came out from fighting or just hasn't digested it yet. Beautiful fish. Quick measurement. She's 39.5. Beautiful 39.5-inch lake trout. She's going back. Beautiful fish. Go ahead. Fired right up. Look at her just digging right to the bottom. Oh man, that is unreal. Well, let's just keep going. Let's see how many we can get today.
Hooked up again here. I'm hoping that this is my redemption, but I don't know. Lost one beside the boat here. Well, not beside, kind of under the boat by 10-15 feet. Oh, the hook shifting a lot. I don't like that. Lost one 10-15 feet under the boat. And lost one trolling. So the other one I just caught a smaller one. We didn't include that in the video. Probably around 28 to 31, around there. Love the seagulls cheering me on. Makes me feel encouraged. This fish is getting heavier as she comes closer, so tummy's rumbling. Ready for lunch here soon. I need to point out, this is midday. This is high noon, midday. The wind's starting to change, so we can see the smoke starting to roll in here. We got a smoke, big plume that was to our west here, so it's getting smoky. But let's see. There's that little bit of, I got a little nick in my line here that I did not necessarily love, but back on the spool now, so I feel more comfortable. This line has seen so many fish, and so we're gonna change that up. No way! I got two! I got a big one that hit the little one!
Oh,
that is so cool! That is so cool. I have two lake trout on at once. I got little itty bitty baby, and then I got a bigger one to absolutely smash it. Because when I was bringing it in, I'm like, it doesn't feel big, but then it started to feel big. And so look at that. She's barely hooked.
One on each hook.
One on each hook. 2 lake trout at a time. I don't know if I'll ever do that again. I'm so excited that we caught that on camera. Man, oh man, that is just so cool. That is an absolute riot. So that is so cool. Chuck the old glasses. Let's unhook fish number 1 here. I can't even believe that. This poor guy having a terrible day. Fish number 1. And now we got fish number 2, and she is a lot bigger. Wow, wow, wow. What an insane thing to happen. I can't believe it. Let's get this girl unhooked and I'll show her off. She was barely hooked, but after doing all this dancing, oh, there she goes. That's all it took. Check her out. Greedy, greedy, greedy girl. She went after, she got the second one there. Absolutely amazing. So cool. Just at 36. Wow. Absolutely awesome. That is really cool. 2 fish at once. That is a twofer. I haven't had that happen. That was really cool. That is crazy. I was fighting the little one in, and all of a sudden I thought, it's getting heavier. I don't really understand what's going on. And 2 for 1. Man, what a day.
Well, we just came back in. This smoke just rolled in across the lake, and we came in and checked fire map. Fire's about 20 miles away. Smoke just heading right towards us now. So it was like a wall coming across the lake, and fishing has been on fire. I think we're at like 7 masters in like less than an hour of fishing right now. And Emily wanted to respool her rod. We're gonna grab a couple baits. I'm gonna steal another bait that matches the bait that she's using, because she's kind of kicking my ass right now. But we're gonna head back out, and you're gonna see that video on part 2. So thanks for watching part 1, but we're gonna see the second half of this on part 2.